The topic that we have today is about love, unconditional love, and to do with relationships. And that is something which all of us struggle with. It's a fact of attachments. It's about, um, we feel hurt in relationships a lot. We have a lot of expectations from relationships. It's a very conditioned way of looking at relationships. When I say that, I don't mean everybody. We are aware adults now, and we know where to draw the boundaries. But invariably, there is some energy in all of us, whether it is for our children, whether it is for our siblings, whether it is for our partners, that we have this kind of an ownership in relationships. And that is why, because it's an area where we struggle, because it's an area where the pain goes really, really deep. The pain goes really, really deep, and it impacts many areas of your life. That's why it becomes something, and it's a very personal topic. It's a very personal topic. So even though I don't really like to talk much about personal issues, but the thing is that if we are struggling with it and it is not allowing us to live our lives to the fullest, it's important to open up certain things and just share and talk about them. Because what I have heard from people is that through these sessions, of these Sunday sessions in particular, the body mind integration sessions, um, a lot of simple things have just made sense. Even in today, we had a wonderful Reiki class all through the day. And some of the students were sharing that uh, the way we address things in this particular 7:30 Sunday session is not talking about any deep fundas or deep therapies or any deep even though we've tried a couple of times to introduce something, but it somehow has never happened. So it's always talking about the practical, and that's my approach to a lot of things. In fact, all things in life, just look at the need of the hour and make your session, make your uh, talk, make yourself available according to the vibrations of the people sitting across you. And that's where it touches you, and starts to make sense. But today I also want to very clearly mention that if there are any topics, any issues, anything that I say or we share here, if there's anybody who feels otherwise or wants to contradict not in terms of having an argument, but putting your point forward, I mean, I'm very open to that. I'm very open to that. It's not that what I'm saying is the ultimate. There's always a different perspective to every situation, and I will really honor and respect that, as long as that perspective keeps you happy. That's the underlying thing. That perspective should keep you happy. If you have a different view or a different perspective, but that makes you miserable, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So we need to look at things from whichever way that we are looking at them. But the end result should be that I am at peace in this relationship, in this situation, whatever it is that we are, sort of struggling or dealing with. And I would really want, I mean, I'm happy that you've sent your questions in the inbox to Vinita, which is absolutely fine. But please interact. It makes a very big difference when I say something about, or when anybody says that this thing troubles me and I just don't want to live with it. The moment you've said it, it's out there. It's out from your system, and it's out there in the universe, and the universe hears that, this is not something which is going to be in her energy anymore. So put yourself out, speak, share, um, argue, contradict. This is just a very sacred space for you to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely a non-judgmental space, so
Absolutely.
nobody, whatever we discuss here, nothing really goes out,
Very
so.
true. Yes, Vinita, carry on.
So the first question says is unconditional love practical? We are humans after all, and the person has put two exclamation marks after that. And the second comes to me is referring to your earlier talks about mentioning about to fill your cup first in self love sessions. So if I keep giving out from my cup and not get anything back, So is it wrong to expect or to get frustrated? So who's going to fill my cup? That's the second. And of course, as we go through, I'll just read out
Okay,
another one.
sure. So see, one thing we all have to understand, that whatever we are speaking about, when we talk about energy healing, and now I've been in this field for nearly, I mean, professionally for more than 10 years, but I have been working with energy for nearly 30 years now. So we have to understand that when we talk about something like unconditional love, when we talk about something like unconditional love, and we say that does it really exist? After all, we are also humans. What is the meaning of unconditional love? Is what I'm trying to, is what I want to start with. What do I mean by the words? What do the words unconditional love mean to you? Is it just about giving? And see, when we are talking about giving, we have to understand that we are not talking about giving from a space where we are giving something. Now, what will you give? What will you give? And I'm going to take these questions together and really pick it up from here. You can only give something that you have, isn't it? We can only give something that we have. If we have anger, I can only give you anger. If I have hate or jealousy, I can only give you that. If I have love, I can only give you that. And we all understand extremely well that these are nothing but vibrations. These are nothing but vibrations. So firstly, if I have to give, I have to fill myself up. But who is going to fill me is the question there. Nobody is going to fill you, and nobody can fill you. Let's get this this thing out of our minds, that somebody is going to fill my cup. Nobody is going to fill your cup. You have to fill your cup on your own with your connection to your inner self, to your divinity, to God, to the universe, whomever you believe in, whatever it is. If you are expecting somebody to fill your cup, nobody is going to fill your cup. Have it absolutely clear. We can only feel somebody loving us if we have that love within us. If we are full of anger and somebody is pouring on their love, it'll be very difficult for us to fully experience that also. So we come back to the things that we have been speaking about in the past. Self-love, self-forgiveness, very, very important. If I can't love myself, how can I expect another to love me? That's the first thing that I want us to understand. I say all the time, my life is doomed. Nobody loves me. I hate myself. If I'm saying that and the person across in my relationship is saying, I hate you, doesn't he or she have all the right to say that? Because you're also saying it for yourself. It's a very simple and a subtle thing, but it's very, very important. If you're asking for something, feel deserving of it. If you feel that you just don't deserve it or you're not worth it, you will not get it as much as you try. No law of attraction will work, because the law of attraction is working on the fact that you are feeling not deserving. Even though you are demanding, you're feeling not deserving. So that has to come in first, that I fully deserve this. And once you start feeling that you deserve it, then it will come into your life. And who's going to make you feel that you deserve it? Is it going to be someone outside? No, it has to be someone within. And who is that someone within? It is only you. It is just only you, nobody else. And nothing else, in fact. What I mean by unconditional love, and the question that Vinita has put out, is that would you not want to be unconditionally loving? Now, when you love, say, a pet in the house, or you love a small child who has no so-called ego or no sense of separation, the love that you give to that child, isn't it unconditional? Are you giving love to a 2-year-old thinking that he's going to give you love back? What do I mean by unconditional? Means no conditions attached. I am just giving because I feel like giving. You know, two things we were discussing today in our Reiki seminar also, and it makes a lot of sense in this talk here. When we talk about giving, when we talk about unconditional, unconditional giving, in Reiki we are taught that always have an energy exchange for what you're giving. If you're giving Reiki to somebody, if you're giving healing to somebody, try and have an energy exchange, because only then it is valued more. You know, the relationship or whatever you're doing for somebody is valued more. And of course, there's a Reiki story behind it. But what I'm trying to say here is, or the reason that I'm picking this up is that someone asks that, okay, so, you know, somebody is really, really unwell, or there's a little child who's hurt. Do I have to first ask him that, you know, do you want Reiki? Should I give you, or seek permission from that person? No. There you're not giving, or in such instances in life, you're not giving from the space of receiving something from the other person. You feel love for the person, you are offering it to the person. And does that give, how the other person receives it is not your problem. This is where the problem comes. This is what I mean by unconditional love. I am full of love. I want to give you love. Whether you're my child, whether you're my partner, whether you're my parent, whether you're just my house help. I want to give you love, because giving that love fulfills me. Full stop. How this is received by the other person is not your business. And you might say that, of course, I mean, we are humans, we expect it from the other person, but that expectation leads to maybe disappointment or hurt. So do I really want to engage in that? And really, if I give out that love without expectation, it will be received in a much better way, because there will be absolutely no expectation or, you know, something that you're seeking from the other person. Now, when you love a newborn child, you know, when you love a child, a small child, you know that the child is not going to do something for you at that moment, at least, isn't it? So when you do, or when you offer that, or when you do it to a pet, or a, you know, some say a little dog in your house whom you really, really love, or a cat, or any pet, it's like an unconditional love. It's not expecting something in return, is what I mean. And then if you get in return from whomever you're offering that, it's all a bonus, isn't it? Isn't it? So can we really give that unconditional love? Yes, we can, if we give it from the heart and not from the mind. We've been speaking about the ego, we've been speaking about the heart all through these sessions. If we are giving from the mind, if we are giving from the head space, then obviously we are giving it conditionally. I am doing this so that I receive this. But that's not how relationships work. If you really want to understand what relationships are and receive fully, this is not the way that relationships work. We have to give from the space. Doesn't that giving give you so much of satisfaction? Doesn't that giving give you so much of joy? That is what you need to connect with, nothing else. That giving is what you need to connect with. And I really want you all here, you know, there's a reason that you connect here on this call, on this session, because somewhere these words touch you, or they make an impact on you. So try doing this. The mind will come and say, but I have given and I have not got back, so why should I give? Then it's the same. Then there is no difference. But try giving without the expectation of receiving anything. It may be very difficult because we are conditioned to live with this barter system, you know, live with this barter system. But if we just become that energy of joy and love, then we don't have to give love. You understand? When you are in a space of, say, meditation, or you are in a very settled state, you will be actually pouring out that love to anybody. You're not going to differentiate whether this love I'm giving to my daughter or to the little girl who works in my house. You won't, because there is no judgment, there is no differentiation. And when you say that we are humans, yes, they might come in, these things might come in, thoughts might come in, judgments might come in. But actually, you'll be able to break through all these if you really are pouring out that love from your heart. And giving of that love is not an effort. You don't have to make an effort to give love. Do you have to make an effort to really, you know, somebody whom you really love, say when you fall in love, do you really have to make an effort to love that person? When you have your child with you, when you have, you know, these relationships are, you know, really unconditional, especially when children are younger. Do you really have to give love to that child? You have to do something to give love. It just flows out, doesn't it? Doesn't it? That is unconditional love. What is conditional love? When I'm doing something for somebody and I'm expecting something in return. I'm going to give you a really, really, what should I say? An example of somebody who came to me, a lady who came to me many years back, and I think I've shared this on this platform, but I'm happy to voice it again. She came to me. She was, I think, in her just turned 50, and she was getting into deep, deep depression, anxiety, paranoia, depression. And when she came to me, she said that, my son got married 2 years back, and now he doesn't want to live with me. I gave up. I was such an educated person. I gave up my career because I wanted to bring up this child and give him the best. And now, 30 years later, 28 years later, he says that he doesn't want to live with me. I mean, she was shattered. She was shattered. She couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. She was like feeling so betrayed. So, of course, I did whatever I needed to first help her come into a little settled space. And she was like, so agitated. All my life I gave to this child. I gave up my career for this child. I did this for him. I did this for him. I did this for him. And now he says he just doesn't want to stay with me. And like, who's going to look after me? What am I going to do in my old age? This, that. She went on and on and on. So once I settled her a little bit, settled her energy a little bit, I just tried to explain to her that, this is not a barter system. Okay, we expect as we are growing old, our children are going to look after us. If children are not there, there are a lot of people who don't have children, but they're still looked after. There are a lot of people who don't have partners, they're still looked after. There are a lot of children who don't have parents, but they're still looked after. But in this case, if you have brought up this child for 30 years, thinking that after 30 years, this child it's all going to be, now a taking back, that he's going to now look after me, he's going to fend for me, and now he doesn't want to do that. That's really not being fair to the relationship. This child didn't ask to be born, did he? He didn't ask to be born. You wanted to be a mother. You wanted to be a parent. So you brought this child into this world. This child helped you or showed you that what motherhood is and how beautiful it is to be a mother. That experience, that joy of bringing up a child from the time the child is in the womb up to whatever age you wish to, even now. Isn't it such a beautiful feeling to bring up this child? But all along, if your thought is that now that I have brought him up to this age, now he has to give me back, it's really putting, tarnishing this whole relationship of a mother and a child. And the child very, very coolly will turn around and say that, who told you to give up your career? I didn't tell you to give up your career. I mean, you could have kept a maid, you could have kept somebody to look after me. You could have left me with my grandparents. I would have been looked after. So is it is it an ihsan that you have done on me to be bringing me up and giving up your career, and now you're telling me all this, that you did this? I didn't tell you to do that. And of course, he didn't tell you to do that. So how can you be so demanding in this way? And yes, if you wish or you have your fears and insecurities, it's not really the child's so-called duty. Of course, the child needs to look after you or be, come to a situation where you feel comfortable and the child feel comfortable. But is it okay to demand it, is what I'm asking. You can tell the child that I feel insecure, I would like to live with you, and whatever, you can come to a, peaceful, say, coexistence. But to feel that this is wrong and, I demand that he should do this, I mean, he's creating a crime by doing this. Is that right? Is that right? That is conditional love, na? So unconditional love, we've heard this, that, just if you really love somebody, just let them go. If they're truly yours, they'll come back. If not, that's also fine. If the growth or the, the life of the other person is by living on their own or being away or whatever it is, and if you genuinely love that person and you know that if the person goes there or does that, he or she will be happier and will have more avenues and more platforms to move ahead, would you not wish that for the other person, even if it hurts you? even if it, feels like a little painful or unsettling inside. That's what you need to get over. Does it make sense? And I'm happy to hear anybody who does not agree to this.
There's a question that has just popped in, and your answer looks like a preempt to this question. So the person, there's a gentleman, he's written, the love of parents is usually unconditional. And today, when I don't find my children available even to talk, what good is this love that you're talking about? It hurts. I'm already a senior citizen and miss my children.
I totally agree with you. The hurt is absolutely fine. The hurt is absolutely fine. And wanting to talk to your children is also absolutely fine. Now, this is a value that you need to inculcate in the children, not from the point of give and take. The children should feel like talking to you, isn't it? The children should feel like talking to you, not by demand. Yes, dutifully they should. Even if it is just doing a duty, it's okay to call and check up on you or speak to you. But your needs are much more than just talking to them, isn't it? So when you give unconditional love, and when you gave that unconditional love all your life to your children, all your life, and you're still giving it probably, when you gave that, was that giving not satisfying, is what I ask. You did your best as your parent, and was that not satisfying? Now what the children do is their karma, is their duty, is their, is their path. So you can definitely speak to them, not from the space of, I gave you unconditional love, now you give me unconditional love. No, that is not the way to say. But express, just as you have expressed here, asking that, okay, I miss you. I need to be with you. I feel the need to be. It's lovely to have you around. Make them feel, don't be needy is what I mean to say, if I can put it in a different statement. When relationships, when this comes from a space of neediness and desperation, no relationship will work. The child will say, please give me my own space. And now you hear this from children as young as 8, 9, 10. I need my space. It's not teenagers, it's not young adults. It's like even children saying that I need my space. Why? Because children, you drain on their energy, you feed on their energy, and that's what even happens when we are aging, and now we feel the need. That neediness is not something which many children can give or many people can give at this time. And similarly, in a relationship, in a couple, I mean, if there's that neediness and desperation, you cannot be surviving. That relationship cannot be surviving. So looking at the statement, looking at this question, just as you have put it out, and I totally empathize with what you're saying. I totally feel that in my heart. Your words totally touch me. But based on this, would you think that your unconditional love, your giving that unconditional love to the child was not, was of no value? I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that. In fact, even today, if you really tune into your child and you really, even though you feel that, you are not so well connected to your child, even today, the need or what flows out from your heart is only love for that child, isn't it? And yes, you still feel that, yeah, I'm angry with this child. I miss this child doesn't care for me. But still, what is it that you can offer this child? Nothing but love. Because you're a parent. A parent's love is invariably unconditional, unless you're really in the dark. At least I feel so, that two relationships, a parent and a child, and maybe with our pets, the relationship is really unconditional. It's really unconditional. And other relationships are there also, but sometimes it's difficult to be very naturally unconditional in those relationships. And not that it doesn't exist, of course it exists, in all relationships it exists, but this is something which comes very naturally, very, very naturally. So now when you feel this, that I did unconditionally for my child, and now I'm a senior citizen, and I wish to be, I wish my children could be around me. Definitely you could wish, but how would you want to go from here? Would you like to be angry with them? Would you like to be upset with them? Or would you still want to be loving with them? Whatever you give out, remember that comes back. So just still do that little cutting cord exercise that I have taught you. It is absolutely wonderful. And somebody asks here, how do we get over this hurt? Well, it's a hurt that you are feeling. So you have to work your ways through these various healing modalities that we have been telling you. But most of all, it comes with, really the underlying focus is just to raise your vibrations, isn't it? Whether you do it with Reiki, you do it with meditation, you do it with whatever, dancing, anything that aligns with your energy. Does it make sense? I'm just reading some questions here. Yes, someone writes here that parents put a lot of pressure on their sons, especially to return what they have done for them. How fair is it for a son to put this guilt and pressure on his family? I totally agree. And maybe all that I have been talking about is this only. It's not fair. But see, the thing is that from now, if this is the situation, how can you deal with it is what I can only tell you. How can you deal with it? So if you are feeling that you really want to improve your relationship in some way with somebody, really do that cutting cord process. It is absolutely miraculous. But understand that this neediness is coming from inside you. It's not wrong. I'm not judging it at all. But the fact that you're not receiving what you're wanting, whether it is the time or the love or from your child or from your partner or from anybody, what can you do now? I look at it from that aspect. What can you do now? Cry about it and, go about saying that, oh, my, this happens in my life and I just don't know. I mean, all my life I've been serving these children and now they just don't bother about me. That's one aspect. You can do that. If it makes you happy, please do that. This is really slipping into a victimized mode, isn't it? The other aspect is what? The other aspect is just coming to peace with it. Just coming to peace with it. How do I come to peace with it? Firstly by going inwards, by really fulfilling that love within yourself. Again, it's a vicious cycle. It's very difficult to separate these things. Let's understand, it's very, very difficult to separate these things. So what do we really need to do? We need to really turn inwards. And again, as repetitive as it sounds, this is the only way forward if we need to solve these problems fully. I need to reflect, why am I so needy? Why am I feeling so needy? I really need to turn inwards and reflect on it. That neediness and desperation will only make me sick, make me unhealthy, emotionally, mentally imbalanced. Nothing else it will do. Absolutely nothing. So either come into a space where you are, say, more in acceptance of situation the way it is. Find something that gives you joy. Why are we expecting that joy from just one person, or say our children, or say my partner, or my, some person, that only when this person gives me love, I will feel loved? That's not true. That's absolutely not true. Try this out. I tell so many people who feel that, I don't know what to do with my time. I'm like, I'm a senior citizen. I really don't know how to use my time constructively and all that. So start indulging in something that gives you love. Go to an NGO, go to a street side where you see so many children who wait for you to come, and just offer them whatever you wish to. Not from the space, like if you're going and giving something to, say, a beggar, they are not going to be, or some children in a school or an NGO, they are not going to be giving you anything back. You know that very well, don't you? But that going, opening of your heart, going and offering what you do, that fills you with love. That is the love you want. But the mind comes in and says that, why am I not getting this from A, B, C? That is the block. That is where we make the mistake. So do these simple things. Just go somewhere, get up in the morning thinking, oh, I need to go there, and do nothing. Just sit and chat with those people, laugh with those people, take a packet of toffees, take a packet of biscuits, and just sit in a place where we have these children who are not as privileged as maybe our children. See the love that you get from there. I experienced this about 10 years back when I started going to a place here near Gurgaon, where there are about 80 mentally challenged boys. They don't even know you. I mean, they don't know you, but we started taking some food for them every month. And actually, the moment our car used to enter there after 3-4 months, they could not talk, they could not eat properly. Everything was just mashed and fed to them. But that whole, when we used to open that box of, say, samosas, they could not even say the name properly, but their mouth would drool and they would like just come towards you to hold your hand, to love you. And how joyous it was that they were waiting for that little sweet or that little laddu or that little samosa that you were offering it. They were waiting for that, and you feel so happy doing it. Do you think you're getting anything from those people in return? Yes, some people feel I'm clearing some karmic debts, I need to repay them. Even if you're doing it from that aspect, it fulfills your heart so much. I can challenge and say that so many of you are here on this, we are nearly 90 people here on this talk. Each one of you must have experienced this joy in your life at some point. But why don't we go back to that? Why do we still wait for somebody here? I've cooked a lovely meal for my child and he's eaten outside and come, and I'm so badly hurt. That hurt stays inside and just creates all these lifestyle disorders that we struggle with. So grow out of that. You cooked the meal, you enjoyed cooking it, you cooked it with love. Yes, you would have loved it if the child ate it that evening instead of saying, oh, I just picked up something on the way and I don't feel like eating today. Doesn't matter. He was hungry, he picked up, but maybe he'll eat it, he could eat it in the morning. But did you not enjoy making it? Will that fulfillment only come 100% when the child eats it and says that it's lovely? No, that is where we have to correct ourselves. You enjoyed doing it. Be in the moment. You enjoyed doing it and you cooked it with love and joy. And that's it. Full stop. We have to really stop, expecting more and more and more. And yes, when you fall into those traps of expectations, I'm not denying that. We all do. Maybe even I do. But that's the time we need to move back and remember, oh, wow, but I really loved picking up those ingredients and, making this recipe for my child. And if you really go back to that, you'll see that it'll be accepted also. It'll be received in a different way. Totally be received in a different way. It may not sound very easy. I totally agree. But it's not impossible. If your peace and your joy are your priorities. Yes, Vinita.
Actually, you just said it. What was in my mind, and I've been thinking about it. It's so many times these days happen when we started cooking, so children kind of don't enjoy it, or they order it from outside. So as a mother, when you're cooking, especially, somewhere down you get hurt. So now, while you're actually picked up something like this, as if you've read my mind.
So you want your child to eat? You want your child to eat and, because he's hungry, or you want your child to eat only because you have cooked? Question yourself. Your priority is what? That I have cooked. This is the me. This is the ego speaking. The child was hungry when he was on the way. He's got stuck in traffic. So he just picked up because he was hungry. Why are you cooking the food so that your child doesn't remain hungry? Isn't it? But the meal I cooked, that the child has not eaten. He picked up something in the way. Arey Baba, he was hungry. He felt hungry. He ate it. But you judge it in this way because the me, the I, the ego comes in. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Absolute sense to me, because I've been really struggling with this, and especially during lockdown. I think moms like us, we're actually cooking as well. See, there's another question that has just come in. It says, in context of relationships, unconditional love may reflect a sign of weakness or compromise to avoid a conflict with the other partner.
Yes, I totally understand this question. But one thing we have to understand, all of us who are here on this talk, on this session, day in, day out, like at least every week, it is not about the other person. Again, we come back to the same thing. It is not about a weakness. The other person will feel that you're weak. No, we spoke about this. Surrender does not mean that you are weak. You are giving love because you are full of love. You are not giving only to get. If you get, wonderful. If you don't get, wonderful. Can we shift this energy within us? And then when we say if we don't get wonderful, if we get wonderful, you'll see everything will be beyond wonderful. Enjoy doing that for the other person. Can we just not do that? Can we just not do that? And how is it a weakness? The other person may take advantage. You might feel that, yes, the other person is taking advantage of you. But that means that you're not really doing it in the way that you really need to do it. There's judgment coming in. How can anybody take advantage when you are doing something from your heart? Tell me. Let's look at any situation. Bring it up. I would be happy to address it in that way. And yes, if the other person is taking advantage or looking at it as this is your weakness, it is your weak point, so be it. That's his or her thought. That's not my thought. I am doing it with love. And that is what should give you satisfaction, because you are very sure of the intent with which you are doing it. It all comes back here and not out there. Yes, Geeta, I want your question.
No, I just wanted to share, as you said, that you went and gave food to those kids and how much joy you felt. If it's not too much, I just want to share something, because my father has been looking after 2 orphanages in Delhi. He's 87. He's just turned 87. And the amount of energy he has to raise money and to do for those kids to find the right food, education, it's unbelievable. And it's the happiness you were talking about. He gets that from there. Sometimes I feel that if I get even half of that energy, I'll do so well in my life. But you're so right that the kind of satisfaction and the inner peace you get, and that makes you not just mentally but physically so healthy that you're able to do it, that it's like unbelievable. It's so difficult for me to even explain that how enthusiastic he gets. Sometimes he'll just say, give me your friend's number, I'll call them, and we feel embarrassed that he's asking for money. But in his mind, he's like, I don't care what people think. I'm doing for this cause and I will do it. And in the end, something good is going to come out of it. So I absolutely understand when you say that, that you do it from that space, and then the reward will come in lots of other ways.
Thanks for sharing. That's really beautiful, because you would have all seen, like, even at the end of the street where there's a construction going on in your colony, just go for 3-4 days and just offer like 6 bananas, 2 packets of biscuits, whatever you feel like offering. And the 4th, 5th day, when your car goes there or when you walk there, just see how those children will come running towards you. Right? And what do you feel? You feel wanted, isn't it? So you're getting up with this feeling in the morning that, yes, I need to go there because somebody is waiting for me. Now, if I want that should come only from my closest ones, or for those whom I'm doing something, and in return, that's not being fair to yourself, is what I really feel. The fact is, I want to feel wanted, I want to feel loved. And there are so many children, so many people who are waiting to give you that. Right? But I only want to, or I will only feel fulfilled when I get it from this person, or these, from my children. That's the ego speaking. That's the ego speaking. And it's nothing wrong in expecting it. I don't say that there's anything wrong. In fact, somebody has put up a question here that if the child or husband says, cook this for me today, and you spend time doing it, and later he comes and says, I ate and came, then is it not hurtful? Of course it's hurtful. But then what do you do in this situation? Either you keep, grumbling and crying over it, or you just sit and explain that, oh, I made this with so much of love for you. So next time, be sure that when you tell me to cook, that you eat it. I don't like to waste it. Or just explain it in a more impersonal way. Don't say, I made it for you. I did so much of effort. I searched the recipe. I went and got the ingredients. Don't get the I. Just say that I cooked this, this meal was cooked with so much of love because you wanted to eat it. And I would have really loved it if you could next time be very sure of, what you want, and I'm very happy to cook it for you. But let's not waste it. Just mention it like that casually. Don't personalize it. It becomes very painful when it gets personalized. And yes, I can understand that you may be feeling a personal hurt inside, but that's what you need to just get over. And either don't cook it. If you want to become indifferent, that's also fine. Just say that, yeah, I wasted my time cooking for it. Did you really waste your time? If he would have eaten it, it wouldn't have been a waste of time. If he didn't eat it, it was a waste of time. Now what? Everything is being judged by the person's response outside. So shift your lens a little bit. Just shift that lens. For what? For your peace, not for anything else. And be aware, next time you're going to do it, just call up and say, you wanted me to cook this. I'm really going to, enjoy this and love doing this. But be very sure that you're going to be home because I don't like to waste the food or whatever. Just say it in that way. And you'll be heard. Say it from your heart, not from the mind. Then you won't be heard if you speak from your mind.
So Sujata.
Yes, Lakshana.
Then this is really all about attachments, is it?
Absolutely.
Because when we say my child, my spouse, my child said this to me, is this what I taught them? How dare they answer like this to me? So it's really all about me, right?
Absolutely.
So it's when we say that, this is how I used to feel earlier, But then quite some time back with lots of, teachings, grace, whatever, I started thinking like this, that, okay, this child was given to me by the divine, came through me, but it's not me. He has his own entity. He's an own entity.
Absolutely.
And I just bless them, let them be happy and blessed and safe wherever they are. That's all.
Absolutely.
We know they care. Whichever way they care is fine. They do care.
Absolutely.
But it's just that I think we want them to care the way we want it.
Absolutely. It's not just about child. It's even about any other relationship, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's when you say that it's not me, actually it's not mine, because no relationships work on ownership. Even in a husband-wife relationship, if you think that you own the person, the relationship will never work. It could be more of a companionship or a partnership, but not an ownership. But the mistake we make it that this is my child now, this is my ownership on this child. And yes, for a few years, when you tell the child to sit, he sits. When you tell the child to stand, he stands. But slowly, you will have to be sitting and standing on his command, not he. So don't make it in that way. Don't look at it as an ownership. Do your best. Love. Isn't it so wonderful to bring up a child? To be a mother, to be a father, bring up this child, look after the child, see the child growing, and then slowly, what is the way it's meant to be? We see this, we are the only so-called race who owns our children in this way. You see all these animals all around. Look at the bird, they feed the little, birds in the nest, and the moment they learn to fly, they're off. There's no attachment. And that goes for all animals, isn't it? But we get so attached to them. Now they're ready to go and fly out. Bless them and let them go and find a life for yourself. And don't wait to become 50, 60 to find something to do that. Do it now. All of us, like most of you are connected to our group. Most of you here are connected to our group. We do so many things, like today also, while we were, Nandini is here, who joined last week, and she was on the Reiki class today. And she said that this thing that you're offering unconditionally, this is unconditional, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. How do you get the time to do this Reiki and all? But the joy when you get that message that I've been following your Reiki classes for, say 6 months, and it has changed my life. I don't even know the person. I've never even met the person. That is fulfillment. I may be asking my child every day, come on, join the Reiki class, join the Reiki class. But he says, forget it. I don't want to join. I have no interest. So should I feel bad that a XYZ person is enjoying it and my son is not enjoying it? No, that joy is so so fulfilling when I get a message after this that, you know, this thing is making sense. It has improved my relationship. My marriage was going to break, but now I really understand that this person is, you know, looking from a different lens, and he does it. It's not personal about me. That is so fulfilling. That love that I get is equally as important as my child saying that, yeah, I really enjoyed your session today. That my child comes in now. That's why it becomes so bad. We would not be doing it. Most of us don't have children who connect to this, what we do. But we get all these people who are like children, all of you who feel so, you know, so happy, so joyous. And does it not happen? I mean, your children will take you for granted, but their friends come and discuss their deepest problems with you. So it's okay. We're all same. Why? It's only because you've been born through me that you should be following me and listening to me and saying that I really enjoyed your sessions. No. That's where we need to like gently start stepping back now. Really gently start stepping back. Find a hobby, find something. And I feel so happy that this is something that we can do and share and talk and just fulfill our lives. Or we could be cribbing and crying that, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. Now my children are, you know, off on their own. They don't have time for me. This, which a lot of us feel. But if we get into anything that we enjoy, and it's not necessary to be in the path of healing or spirituality, anything, I mean, dancing, painting, gardening, now do pick up all those hobbies that you needed to do. You're never too old to do anything. Fulfill all that you need to do. Who knows what's going to happen, if there's going to be a next life also. Just go out there and do something that gives you joy and happiness. Just go out and take that step. It's never too late. Never too late. Then those expectations will not be there. And it's not that I'm going and I'm using up my time, that I'm so tired that I just come back in the evening and I don't even think about what my children are doing and that those expectations go off. No, whatever I'm going outside and doing or whatever I'm engaging myself in is giving me fulfillment and satisfaction. And my children will say tomorrow, oh gosh, you have no time for us. And then you'll say, okay, let's just sit together. Let's make a day for ourselves. And, you know, even I have a life of my own. My life doesn't depend on them or for that matter on anybody else. Does it make sense?
Makes a lot of sense, Sujata. But there are so many attachments also at times, you know.
That's fine. Watch, observe the attachments. At least the seed has been sown.
Sujata, I have a question.
Yes, Manisha.
Can I ask?
Yes, please, Manisha.
The most important thing you have mentioned is love yourself.
Yeah.
But suppose if there is a contradiction, that is, you know, when you love yourself and between loving yourself and fulfilling all your responsibility. So in sometimes it happens that you know, you are, because you are a mother, you are a wife, you are working. So in fulfilling all these responsibility, you forget to look after yourself. And when you start looking after yourself, then one or the other responsibility lag behind. So I just want to know ki, when we love ourselves and when we become little selfish, is it right or wrong?
Okay, so before I answer, just close your eyes and your heart and tell me, is it right or wrong? Without like going into your mind. What do you think?
It is wrong.
It is wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it is not at all wrong, my dear. If you are only not there to fulfill your duties and responsibilities, if you don't look after yourself, how do you think that you will be able to sustain all these people? Maybe you'll do it for 2 years, but if you really want to do it for all your life, you have to be around, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. And if you do it, you will only be able to do it if you are, like, say, you are doing something for somebody. Okay. You're even cooking a meal for somebody. Right. If you do it with love and joy and happiness, right, will it not be better than doing it with, my God, a tired, dead energy? So prioritize yourself, you know, set those priorities for yourself and absolutely be selfish in this. There's nothing wrong. This is not being selfish. This is not being selfish, because firstly, you're beating yourself up. This is in fact self-sabotage, absolute self-sabotage. You're beating yourself up. You're trying to be up to do your, go for work, come back home, cook, this. Doesn't matter. Cook. for 2 days together. Make your priority in such a way that you get your time to go for your walk, for your yoga, for your anything that gives you happiness. Otherwise, you'll burn yourself out. Nobody will love you, and neither will, you will also not have that love and respect for yourself, and nobody will be there around for you. Because everybody will look at you as that little, dead person who has no energy, who has no love. And don't you think you can do more if you come from that happy, joyous space and you feel good about yourself? Don't you think you'll be able to do things? Maybe quantity wise, you may not be able to do more, but quality wise, you will be able to do more. Isn't it so? Do you want to give them quantity or do you want to give it quality? We always say, even as children, even if you spend lesser time with your children, but make it a more useful time rather than making it 4 hours and all the time fighting and arguing. It's better to spend 2 hours and just be joyous, happy, and play with them. Isn't it? Yeah, and that's not being selfish, really. Don't look at it as being selfish or being wrong. I'm sorry, that's not at all what we are here for or what we are talking about. You have to put the focus on yourself. If for everything I'm saying that it's all inside, this is the first thing that you need to do for yourself. And I'm very happy that you're asking this. You need to reflect on it. Let others think whatever they want to think. I'm sorry, it's not that you have only duties towards others. Your first duty is towards yourself. Gitanjali, are you saying something?
Yes, Bhavi, I just wanted to share with this subject only that 5 years ago, since the time I joined you, I used to be in the same space as I think Manisha was talking.
Yeah.
So I used to be in the same space and I used to think the same way. But ever since I started doing Reiki with you, and that was the first time when I made time for myself without feeling guilty. And ever since, I started making time and things started moving into the right direction for my own self, so much so that my children now start telling me if, for a few days I haven't done something or I haven't gone out for, doing something for myself, they point it out and they tell me, why don't you do Reiki for yourself? Why don't you just make that time for yourself? You have to make time. So it is absolutely necessary. It is absolutely required to make time for yourself, to be able to give time to others happily, to be happy in your own space first.
Absolutely, you have to. You have to do that. You can't survive without that.
Yes, totally
Manisha,
agree, and a big thank you.
Yes, Sujata, thank you very much. It absolutely makes sense. Definitely.
Yeah, and don't look at that as being selfish. And if it is looked at as being selfish, so be it. It's fine. Even if you're not doing it, Manisha, even if you're not looking after yourself, still you're being made to feel that guilt and that you're being selfish, isn't it? So better to do for yourself. I don't really mean from that energy, but I'm just saying that once you start doing for yourself, you'll do it more happily and more joyously. That is what has meaning in life. And if you don't do it, believe me, everybody will take you for granted. Everybody. Again, I'm going back to my Reiki example, that in that one of our Reiki principles says that just for today, respect yourself and others. So if you don't respect yourself, nobody will respect you. This is something which has been my life experience for sure. Like even when your children ask you that, okay, where do you want to go for dinner? It's your birthday. Where do you want to go for dinner? And what will we usually say? 90%. Where you want to go, where the children want to go, where my husband wants to go, where my wife wants to go, where the other person wants to go. And you're asked once, you're asked twice, every time you'll say, okay, let's go where you want to go, because you feel that if you go where they are happy, and if they are happy, you're going to be happy. That's not true. Let's grow out of this thing. Your happiness, the responsibility of your happiness is only yours. And after 3-4 times, the children will say, why are we even asking her? She always says where we want to go. So let's just go where we like to go. And then they say, okay, I want to go and eat Chinese. And when you go to the Chinese restaurant, you say, I didn't feel like coming for Chinese. I really wish I could have gone and eaten some Indian food today. But when you were asked, you didn't say. Why didn't you say? So exercise that right, that yes, I deserve to say what I want to say. I deserve to be taken to the restaurant of my choice. And so what if the others don't want to eat? I want to eat it, and let others also adjust once in a while. So what? And they'll do it happily. They'll do it happily. Don't think that they won't. And if they don't, that's also fine.
Can I share something,
Yes,
Sujata?
Mamta. Yes, Mamta. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Actually, this was a live example. It happened, I think, around 8 months back. There is a basket of plants in my home, and every small nest in it every year. And this time the nest was made by this little birdie just in front of my main door. So I saw it myself. As soon as the kids were born, the eggs were hatched. Just before the eggs were hatched, she used to become a tigress. Little bird used to become tigress, protecting the eggs, because we used to open the door, go out, come, and you were very careful. We stopped using that door. As soon as the eggs hatched, she became more protective. But as soon as that little little kid started having those little wings, we saw her poke the beak to the little kid, and she pushed the little kid out, and he flew. And after the kids went away, she never came back. Then that nest is never used. So every day I used to see how they teach their children to fly, how all the animals, they teach their children to just go away. I think we humans are the only ones who want to keep our children to ourselves. and it's, I would not say that we shouldn't be doing that, but again, what I feel is, if we are happy in our space, the kids would love to come back to us.
Absolutely.
If we are unhappy in our space, no human being would like to spend their time with us, even if we are the best of the parents. So deep down, we have to work on our happiness so that the child needs to come back.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For taking that happiness.
Yeah, we have to be that magnet of, we have to be actually that figure of unconditional love. And again, don't do it within your boundaries, Don't do it when somebody asks that, does it become weakness? Yes, when we overdo it, does become that people start, even children start taking advantage of you. So draw your boundaries. Say, I can do this much, I can do this.
And one more thing, I think food is one anchor which everybody becomes more sensitive to. And we revolve our lives around the food of the kid. Nowadays, children, they think very differently, very, very differently. It's okay if they go hungry once in a while. Even I resonate this. I have only one son, and few of my friends are there in this group also. But even if, the child does not feel like eating one day, it's just fine. It will not.
But know that nobody goes hungry. I mean, they're smart.
Yeah, and nobody knows So everybody should be taking care of themselves. And if there's better things to connect to your children besides food. Of course, food can be one. Family that eats together, stays together. But I think there are much important more things, especially with kids of today, especially kids of.
Yeah, actually it becomes our identity, sometimes, because we've been feeding them all along. So we feel this is our right, this is something which is this thing. So yeah, but things are very, very different. And let's understand that we have been living in a conditioned world. We've done our best as parents. We've done our best as children. We've done our best as partners. Just know that every time each one of you is doing just your very best. So don't beat yourself up, but do the best for yourself also. Just do the best for yourself. Make yourself also that priority. And even if it is being a little selfish and stealing those moments of joy and that time for yourself, believe me, it's well worth it. You're not stealing their time. You're not stealing from them. The universe is abundant. The joy, the peace, the happiness is abundant. The moment you start feeling that, you will actually start sending that out. And that's what will attract them towards you. So just be, and actually deep down inside, we're all that unconditional love. It's only the conditioned ways of thinking, the way we, live, or we have been brought up and we have been seeing these things happening. Because of that, we become conditional in the mind. But really, truly from our hearts, it's not that. It's not that. So just shift into that space of, falling into your heart space and Really receiving that love that you want first from yourself and from anybody who's ready to offer it, rather than just waiting for, say, A, B, or C person to be giving it to you. You may never get it, so don't waste your life. But first give it to yourself, and then you see how much it'll start coming to you from all ends. Feel deserving of it. It's a very, very important thing. Most of the people who come to me say that they don't feel deserving of it. So then how will you get it? Even if you're asking for it, but internally you feel I'm not worth it, then it will not come to you. So yeah, because understand and feel deserving of it, because you truly deserve it, not because of anything else. You are as precious, as important, as important, and as precious is the word that comes to me, than anyone else. Just because you've become a parent, that does not put you in a different seat. You're absolutely that same child of the universe. So please, please, please love yourself. Do these, give yourself first that unconditional love. Don't wait for something to happen. Like I remember, I used to keep feeling, and I'm giving this example here, that, oh, I really wish somebody would send me flowers. I really wish somebody would take me for a movie. But now I do it on my own. I just go and order flowers, and I just tell the florist that just in the next week, one morning, come and drop these flowers, this beautiful bouquet to my door. When I open the door, the flowers are there. Now forget about who sent it to me. The flowers just give you that joy, isn't it? So do those things for yourself. Don't wait for others to do it. Of course, it gives you joy when someone close to you does it. There's no doubt. But you are as precious to yourself. So do it for yourself. Make yourself your priority. Order food that you want to eat. Enjoy life. Enjoy life to the fullest. Don't wait for others to do it.
Maybe I just wanted to add something. With the conditioning, I think we start identifying our roles as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, and we forget the being the person that we are in, and we put ourselves absolutely in the body space that we have and the roles. So I think we stop enjoying or stop spreading love unconditionally to other people also.
Yeah, actually, see, I can't blame anybody, because there's a lot that happens around in society. Everybody is not mature enough to that level. And I'm not judging anybody. What I'm trying to say is that because we are collecting here on this platform to hear these things, I take the liberty to say it to you in this way, that go ahead and do these things. You've not been doing it only because somehow we've not been exposed to that paradigm. That's all. And you're not doing anything wrong. Like when Manisha said, it's just her way of thinking, because she wants to be a good mother, she wants to be a good wife, she wants to be a good person at work, and obviously she forgets her duty towards herself because she's never looked that way. And I'm happy that she asked, and you start saying, oh yes, I'm also my priority. The moment you shift that, instantly the whole energy begins to settle in a different way, doesn't it? And when you start feeling that joy, and you start saying, oh, okay, you had dinner, doesn't matter, I cooked this for you, let's have it tomorrow. And you say it not from expectation, or you say, my gosh, I had such a horrible day, but still I made such effort to give you this food, make this for you, and you've eaten outside. Now tell me, who would want to come back home to listen to that? Right? And even if the child feels, when you say it lovingly, you'll get it back lovingly. And the child will say, I'm sorry, okay, we'll eat it tomorrow. Just keep it. I really would want to eat it tomorrow. And that's it. And you'll start getting those responses. You'll really start getting those responses. I don't want such pin drop silence. Please share. Okay, so I just share from my heart, answering your questions. I understand that each one of us has different circumstances in our house. Every personality, every house, every relationship has different dynamics. So we of course have to balance all those things also. But just keep these underlying things in your mind, and you'll see that you'll be able to deal with anything, any relationship, any situation, anything that comes in your way. Just try and be as unconditional as you can, as much as you can. I know it may not be easy in a lot of relationships. And somebody had written here that the cutting cord is only for cutting the negative energy. It is really to bring neutrality into relationships and then move ahead from there. Really move ahead from there. So even if it doesn't make sense, keep doing that cutting cord, keep doing that cutting and connecting. Connect from the heart unconditionally. If you're always in neediness, then the relationship will not work, because everybody says stay away. So keep doing the cutting cord process, keep doing the forgiveness prayer, simple things that we have, got in these sessions. And write to us what you want to talk about. Even if it is repetitive, it doesn't matter. Every time there's a new perspective. So make this a priority, right? Like Manisha's asking, right, say. Yes, please ask. Who wants to ask something?
Yeah, I'm Vinita this side.
Yeah, Vinita.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask this cutting cord exercise. We can do with somebody, like it happens with me. I get too much into people, suppose my
absolutely.
son.
Absolutely do it.
Or my friend. I'm too much attached to her.
Yeah,
and any action.
Everybody whom you meet in the day, you should cut cords with them at night.
All right.
Right? Anybody that you meet in the day, in the night, just visualize all of them are sitting, cut, and connect at the heart. Finish it off there and then. Don't carry it to the next day. Don't carry it to the next day. See, even if you're too attached to somebody, that person is draining your energy, isn't it?
True. That's why I asked.
Right? Yeah, it only helps to first neutralize the relationship, draw healthy boundaries, and then you move on further, connecting at the heart with only ties of love. Nothing to give, nothing to take, only love.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, so somebody does write here that whole life you're first looking after your maybe in-laws, your kids, and you feel sandwiched. Yeah, but now step away. Really step away from becoming that filling in the sandwich.
It's so nice to hear people, when they just talk from their heart, and, each one's experience is somebody else's experience also, and we learn from each other.
And see, you've been doing it out of nothing but, from a space of love, from maintaining peace in the family, from maintaining, happiness, harmony in the family, isn't it? Each one of you, even Manisha, when she says it's only to be doing her best as a mother, as a wife, as a employee, as everything. But if you are going to get trusted, how long will you really last? So do it and make it more meaningful by, being more presentable in terms of your energy. And then you'll see that when you say, I'm really tired, I can't do this, there's nothing wrong in saying a no. Just be honest to yourself, you'll be heard. Believe me. Believe me, there's nothing wrong in saying a no.
Sujata, 50 years I have spent, I have never thought about myself.
That's why you're here. That's why you're here. I'm so happy that you're here. And yeah, just look around. And I connected with you after so many years. And this is really for so many other people here. I connected with you after so many years. I mean, who could have ever thought that, you had these things or you were being weighed down by these things? And I'm not talking about you personally. It's something that maybe I would have been living my life with, rather than you looking at the way we knew each other from, years back. So it's just how life takes you, presents you, and then it becomes your life experience. And I really want to share it with everybody. That's why I speak here from my heart, that come live your life. Nobody will mind it. Learn to say the no when you need to say the no. There's nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. So I'm very happy that you're here, Manisha, and I'm very happy at the questions that you asked. But yeah, don't judge yourself. It's absolutely perfect. 50 years, about 50 years, let's make the best of it. Are the most precious person in your life. I do it for my children. I do it for my husband. I do it for my wife. I do it for my parents. I do it for my friends. Fine. But if you are not there, then what? If that I is not there, who's doing it? Or if that I is really like all burnt out and exhausted, then what? So first turn towards yourself and then see what a magnet you will become for other people. Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants love. Everybody wants love. As much as you get, you still want more. Have you heard anybody saying that, no, I don't want to be loved? Nobody. You'll never say it in your life. So we're all needy for love. So first, start loving yourself. Give yourself a nice tight hug right now.
And do mirror work.
And I said mirror work. Yes. Look into the mirror, look into your eyes and say, I really, really, really love you. Thank you. Thank you. And I really mean it, because I really, really, really love each one of you.
Thank you,
so much.
Sujata. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Sujata.
you.
Proud to be
Thank
here.
you.
Sujata.
Thank you.